Hey guys, I'm Sneakwa.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nikisha.
And we are your hosts of Coffee and Chat.
Coffee and Chat.
Hey guys! Okay, so this is our second show. Glad that you're with us again. Please subscribe below. Hey! Subscribe to the show. Hey! Subscribe to the show. But seriously, follow us on Instagram. We also have a group on Facebook. We are excited to have you involved. We ask questions. We do giveaways. We want to hear from you, and we have segments that you can come talk. So please join the table with us.
So yesterday, ladies, we celebrated Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Yay, happy Mother's Day.
To all our aunts, our cousins, our mothers, our grandmothers, stepmoms, surrogate moms. You don't have to have birthed a child to be a mother. So we want to say Happy Mother's Day to you ladies and welcome.
Yes. And not only that, but happy Mother's Day to you too.
Thank you.
These are some of my favorite moms here, y'all, for real. Legit. They help me be a better mom. Today's cup of the day is our birth stories. My goodness, those are going to be really interesting. So I just want to start off with a question. Like, did you guys have a birth plan? And if you did, what was that like?
I didn't have a birth plan.
You didn't have
Well, not the first time.
Mhm.
With my first child, I didn't have a birth plan. I thought I did with the second.
You didn't think that you needed one, or?
You know, I have seen so many women have children. I have a lot of cousins, my sister, people in my family, they had children, and I was a lot of times in the room. So I just thought giving birth was going to be a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Because everybody had a really good experience. You know, I didn't see anything that was traumatic. I didn't see anything that was crazy or, out of the norm. So I just assumed that I would have that same grace, and I was just going to, push the child out like a G.
Jeez.
And that was not the case. What about you? Did you have a birth story? Or a birth plan?
I had a few things that I wanted to make sure was done, but no full out plan for either one of my children, to be honest. My big thing was I didn't want drugs. I got drugs. We didn't have it. But, and I wanted to make sure they kept the umbilical cord on for a while. This was with my second child. I didn't know about this with my first child. But my second child, I wanted to make sure that happened so that all the blood can go into her. Oh, I wanted to get in the tub because the hospital also had a tub. Mm-hmm. Didn't have it either. Once you get the drugs, you can't go in the tub. They didn't tell you that.
I definitely had a birth plan. I had sat down and did my birth plan with my doula, which was also my sister-in-law. And so we did an extensive birth plan, and it helped me because she asked a lot of questions that I never even would have thought about. Okay. And so it just helped me to be more aware with everything was going on. Now, did my birth plan go as planned? Absolutely not. It was total opposite. I felt like somebody just took the fire and was like, to your birth plan. Have a good day. So, but that is literally what we want to jump into. We want to talk about these birth stories, these birth plans, and how that all panned out for all of us, because every pregnancy is different. Everyone, even if you have multiple children, I'm sure you ladies can share with us. So whoever wants to dive in, let's go.
I really thought that everything was going to be this magical moment, and I was just going to grit down and have children, and it was going to be very easy. Didn't start like that. So I'll take you guys to the beginning. I had an incredible pregnancy. Mm-hmm. Like, incredible pregnancy. And the night before, I went to the store. We were like getting little stuff and that sort of thing, and I walked around multiple times towards our Babies R Us. Mm-hmm. We're walking around. I didn't understand that my body was starting to prepare for labor, because I'm right there at my due date and all that extra movement. They tell you to walk, but it didn't register. So that night, when I got home, my body started swelling. I took off my wedding rings. I just remember taking them off and sitting them next to the nightstand. the morning I woke up and I was like, hold on, wait. What is this? I think that I need to go to the hospital. I had like this discolored discharge. I was like, oh no, I think this is blood. Like, what is happening? I was like tripping. I called my mom, was texting everybody. Come on, babe, let's go. We gotta go to the hospital. He asked, can I get in the shower? What? Can you get in the shower? I'm about to give birth right now. That's what I thought. Anywho, I got to the hospital. I did not do a tour either of the hospital.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
I didn't do a tour.
either.
I didn't do a tour of the hospital.
I did.
So when I got there in triage, I was like,
What is this?
am I getting labor?
Triage is ugly. Triage.
I was like, I don't have
You're in there like 15 people.
Triage look like the ER.
really,
It does.
I was really tripping out, so they had to check and see you know, was I in labor? Mm-hmm. Yes, literally, I was not in the hospital, in my room, because then they took me to this really big, lavish room. I was like, oh, okay, maybe we good. We get in there, I sent my husband downstairs. I guess I did have some type of plan, like I was gonna play music. It was gonna be like this, because giving birth is a spiritual process. It is actually, you know, bringing life into the world. So I was like, oh, I had a whole playlist I was gonna play, and you know, immediately I told them I do not want an epidural. I'm going to do this natural.
Right, you gotta say, because they tell you to do that, like you have to be stern with your answers.
So I was very stern, and she was like, you know, you don't get an award. This is the nurse told me, you don't get an award if you don't take drugs. And I was like, yeah, let's see. My mom, she didn't have an epidural with none of her children, and I'm not having an epidural. I was not in the room for more than 15 minutes before literally I was rushed up the hallway. I thought I was dying. My husband was not there. My mom was like waving bye to me because she could not come up with me. No one could come in the room with me. And they put me under general anesthesia, and I had to, when I woke up, I went to sleep with a prayer because I thought I was going to die. I just remember telling myself, do not cry, Saniqua, because you don't want your body to tense up and nothing crazy to happen. I just could not believe God was putting me through this. That's how I felt. Why are you doing this to me? I am the first child, or the first person in my family that I know of to give birth inside of wedlock. So why am I getting punished, God? Went to sleep. There was a nurse who rubbed my arm. She just told me she was praying for me. They put me to sleep, and when I woke up, I was in the worst pain of my life. And my husband was holding my little baby girl with me, and that was the beginning.
Oh my God!
I know.
So they didn't even explain to you?
No, I didn't have to sign anything. Nothing at all. I literally was being rushed up the hallway with these bright lights in my eyes, and no one could come.
Straight movie.
Straight movie.
And now for your first kid, that's like terrifying for real.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I probably would have cried. I'd have been like.
I couldn't cry. I didn't want to. I thought I was going to die on the table. I literally thought I was going to die.
I'd have cried, because you don't know what to expect that first child. You're already kind of like a little nervous, you know.
You read way too much.
You read everything you could possibly read.
But I did not read about cesareans. I did not even think.
That makes sense.
It didn't even cross my mind that I may be being cut wide open with everything out on the table. And they were taking my child out of me. It didn't cross my mind that would happen. And then they punctured my appendix, but it was a lot. It was a whole lot. That first time around, I vowed to myself that day, that interval, I'm not having any more children. Now I have two.
So your vow was broken.
And broke.
8-time stomp on your vow.
Yeah. What about you, Ash? How was your birth?
Goodness. My birth was definitely interesting. Pregnancy, for me, I also had a really good pregnancy. I think that's what gets you. You think you had this awesome pregnancy.
Right,
so you're like, we're going to follow through strong. Like, you know?
Right.
And so being pregnant the second time, because I don't have two children, but I have one, but I had suffered a miscarriage, me and my husband. And so the second time I got pregnant was like a lot of nerves and stuff like that, because you didn't know if you were going to, you know, just that initial, if you're going to be able to carry full term. And so I carried full term, and when I did my birth plan with my sister-in-law, who's my doula as well. We did an extensive birth plan, and so we did it, of course, no cesarean, no cesarean section, no epidural, no Pitocin, no to everything that the doctor was even going to offer. We was like, no. And so even prior to that, I read the story Supernatural Childbirth twice. And so if you ever have heard of that book, it's about a woman who gave birth to all of her children supernaturally, like no pain, no anesthesia, no anything. And so I was like, oh, I'm naming it and claiming it.
Amen.
I was like, I'm gonna read all these scriptures, I'm gonna meditate on it. And so I did that my entire pregnancy. I meditated on these scriptures, I focused on it. And even as I was from being given birth and reflecting back, I know that a lot of those things that I was even reading or trying to do was basically because of fear. It's like I didn't really have faith in those things. It was like, because I had never been under a knife, I never had any surgery, so I just knew having a cesarean section was out of the question, and I didn't like needles. So that's the main reason I didn't want to get epidural. Right. I did like the idea of doing natural birth, but all of it was based off of, you're not cutting me open, and you're not gonna put no needle in me, flat out. You're just not. And so I think, that was definitely something that I worked through, but I was 9 days past due. And so with my son, I was 9 days past due. Of course, they wanted to schedule me to induce me. That was my first red flag. I was like, no, we're not getting induced. And so my husband and I were doing everything. We were walking. I'm sitting on the ball, what is it? The yoga ball, just bouncing around and trying to get my cervix to open because I was 4 centimeters dilated, and I was 4 centimeters dilated for like 3 weeks though. And so I'm doing everything. My doula is rubbing essential oils on me, having me, smell them, to do all these things so we can go into labor by myself. So I'm going to labor by myself, but I even tried to have my husband check my cervix. Do y'all remember that?
Yes. I remember seeing the text, like, well, didn't he check her? And I'm thinking, who is who? She was like, I'm all the way there, guys.
Right, I'm at 7 or something like that. Yeah, no. The doctor had showed my husband how to check my cervix, and my husband thought he did it, and it just...
Yeah, sit right back home.
I don't know what I was thinking about, but we tried it. And so
tried it and fried it.
Yeah, we tried it and we fried it, but he was a good sport. But anyway, so we went in and had the Pitocin like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was a total experience. So 5 o'clock in the morning, they signed me in, checked me in. I was in my room, and baby was in position, everything. So we're thinking like, okay, this is about to go down. It's gonna be awesome. So when they gave me the Pitocin, we got all the way up to 10. Okay. If you have ever had Pitocin, I was able to get to 10. And so my son's heart rate started dropping, and it dropped to like 0. And so of course all the nurses came in swarming Oompa Loompa style and just surrounded around my bed. And I didn't know what was going on. They just checking, looking over me, sirens going off. And so what happened was he was having a bad reaction to the Pitocin. So they had to turn it all the way down from 10 to 0. And then they would start back over at 1. And every time they tried to start back over at 1, his heart rate would drop again. So he couldn't do it. And so then they were sticking those heart monitors up me and made my contractions 10 times worse. So I was like, okay, we're going to do the epidural, It says here you don't want to do an epidural. Yeah, you're right. So me and my husband just talked about it. We decided to do the epidural. So that was my second part of my birth plan. That was like out the window. My son's heart rate dropped too many times. And when my husband, he was kind of keeping me on track, giving me the eye, because we really wanted a peaceful time when we were in the hospital. And that was like the thing that was the most important to me, was to protect my peace and the peace of the baby. And so it was just the constant in and out of the nurses that one was just throwing us off. And then as well as just not wanting to have the C-section. Not that I had anything against it, but I was obviously scared. You know, just being honest, I was just scared to have that C-section. And my doctor knew that I didn't want to have a C-section. And so she was like next to me, like, Ashley, you know, we can keep going, we can keep trying this. But my mother instincts were like, I can't keep watching his heart keep going down to zero. You know, it's my first pregnancy. I don't want to do it. So we end up having everybody outside the room, and my husband and I made the decision to go ahead and have the cesarean section. And it was the best decision of my life. One, because I was able to just lock eyes with my husband. And the crazy thing about it is I lost my medicine in the left side of my body. And so when I had to go do the C-section, they stick give your medicine in the same spot. And so I had to let them know, like, I could feel everything on my left side. And so they finally did the test and they found out I could feel everything. And so they ended up putting the medicine back in me. And because you're supposed to wait, like sit up for 15 minutes before, so the medicine can do what it's supposed to do, because I was already in the room to have the C-section, they had to lay me down immediately, and it numbed my entire body. So I was numb from my feet to my head. I thought I was dying. There was no way nobody could tell me that I wasn't dying. I looked at my husband like, can you sing over me? Can you sing to me? Be right, literally like, can you sing to me? Because I think I'm going to die. And so he began to just release this beautiful worship music and just sang the entire time I was in surgery. And the peace of God came in that room. And the doctors, by the time they cut me open and baby came out, he was mad. My son was absolutely mad when they pulled him out. But by the time he came out, the doctors were just like, oh my gosh, we're so glad you were in here. You need to record an album. Like, little do you know. So my birth story was definitely interesting, but what I took away from it was that God was with me every step of the way.
Absolutely.
So he really just helped me to overcome that fear of even going under the knife.
With me, like I said before, I didn't have necessarily just a full-out plan. But the interesting thing about my story is that I didn't have a doctor. So most women, when they do prenatal care, they are going to see the same doctor, you know, over and over. They build this relationship, you talk to them, they know what you want, they know what you need, they know everything about your body, the ins and out, you know, and they just you get a sense of comfort with them. So you're like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get to the hospital and my doctor's gonna be there and blah blah blah, you know. And you got this chance that your doctor might be off call and they can't make it, so you got that little bit of fear, but you're like, no, it's gonna work. But I didn't have any of that. So basically what happened is that my husband was in between. He went to a different job, and it takes a little while for insurance to kick in. But by the time our insurance kicked in, we were past 20-week mark, which I didn't know that once you're past a 20-week mark, people don't want to take you. They call it a risk, basically. They weren't with you for that first half of the pregnancy, so they really don't know what they're getting themselves into. Right. Had we known that, he would have probably like timed his changing jobs a little different. Right. But you know, it is what it is. Try there. So basically, I'm going to the hospital, and whoever's on call when my child wants to present himself is who's delivering my baby. You know, that in itself was a little bit like, okay, but my husband was just reassuring, like, it's going to be okay. Yeah. I really feel the Lord telling me that it's going to be okay. Yeah. So that was good, but long story short, I was in labor, for 38 hours waiting for my son to come. 38 hours. So I had your typical, what you see on the movies. Week. Right. Who you telling? I had the same nurse come in 3 different shifts. 3 different shifts. She came in like, you still here? You just want to see me. Like, literally, I'm like, girl, yes, I do. Come on, get on my chart. Because I got this. but I was in labor for 38 hours, but I had your typical movie type water breaking, which I read that doesn't technically happen most of the time. That's literally a 10%. Wow. So I was prepared, like, no, I'm gonna start contracting first, and I'm gonna wait till I'm like 5 minutes apart before I actually go into the hospital because they can send me back. You know, like I really knew like what was gonna happen and how it was gonna happen. Long behold, I lay on the bed after a whole long night. Lay on the bed, my husband making me food, and this is the thing though. I am such a clown. I start cracking up. I'm in the bed drenched, cracking up.
This is happening.
So I called my husband, and so I played a joke on him the week before and told him I was going into labor, and like played this whole like, babe, it's happening, you know?
No, at all though. Petty.
So he thought I was playing Wolf, like calling Wolf. You know, he wasn't on it. He was downstairs, and I'm calling him, babe, you gotta come. He's like,
You gonna give it twice?
Right.
so when he comes up, I'm like, you didn't hear me. He's like, yeah. I'm like, my water bro. He's like, stop playing. It's not funny. Like, he's mad. But I'm like, no. And he's like, no, I don't want to hear. I'm like, go touch the bed. So I take his hand and put it right in, and he's like, ah. but that's just getting to it. So once we actually get to the hospital, I measure at 1 centimeter. I haven't had this 1 centimeter for like a few weeks, you know, no big deal. 1 centimeter is nothing. So we're going. I'm like, all natural. I think I wanted that badge. I'm like, all natural. I'm gonna get that reward. Still on it. And basically, my body just ain't giving in. It's just not doing it. I'm not going up. I'm not opening up more. I'm not effacing. It's so much stuff. Mm-hmm. You think you're supposed to just dilate. It's efface and all this other stuff that open up.
They're not, they don't tell you.
So like, what? I don't even know what this
baby's not in position.
Talking about. Baby gotta be in position. All this other stuff. So, basically, none of this is happening. Baby's not in position. I'm not opening up. None of this. So eventually, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take the Pitocin. But I already knew some things about Pitocin. And homegirl was not taking Pitocin without epidural. They go together. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did.
They're married.
They go together. I'm not doing it. Because they didn't believe that I was really contracted like I was. Mm-hmm. They're like, there's no way, because basically I guess because I wasn't reacting the way they wanted me to. Okay. And on top of it, my thing wasn't going all the way up. It's supposed to go up to a certain thing. Like it wasn't reading. So they go all up me with the what the devices? Literally, they go up me with the devices. They see that they want you to hit a 75%, I think it is, each time, like a 75. I'm going up 80, 90 each contraction.
Oh my goodness.
Because they're just trying to measure on the outside, and once you have that medicine in you, you can't feel naturally what your body is doing.
This was before the medicine.
Shut up!
I didn't get epidural to 18 hours later, y'all.
Wow.
18 hours.
You did that natural.
That's what I was saying. Where's my trophy? Okay.
I got one for you.
Thank you. 18 hours. I'm telling them, this is happening, but I've had really harsh periods my whole life. So it was not that big of it. Like, it hurt more. I ain't gonna say it.
Right.
But it was like, I can breathe through this. You know, I can do this. So I'm having them, but they're not regular. They're very irregular. 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Like they're just going all over the place. So they're not believing me. Long story short, they were about to take me down to get a C-section. I think we hit about the 36-hour mark, and she's like, "You're gonna have to sign this paper." I'm like, y'all told me 48 hours. Ain't that a show? They were like, I ain't in a crime scene. But I was like, y'all told me I get up to 48 hours.
Right.
Not doing it. I was like, please check me again. I was still at 1 centimeter. Pitocin.
Wow.
Not doing nothing. I even had this little something that go under your tongue, but it be on the M. It goes under your tongue and it's supposed to open you up even more. Not working. So I just pray, God. Oh God. I don't want a C-section. It was the same thing. Like, this is a major surgery. I'm not, like, this is not something I just want to do, you know. So I pray. I asked the doctor to look again. She kind of gave me this face like, girl, come on now, you're 1 centimeter. She go in, her mouth dropped, like, we might be able to do this. She was like, baby's not in position, but you're going to have to work hard, mommy, you got it. I'm like, I can do this. I thank God for my dance training. Mm-hmm. Because I couldn't feel nothing. I got this epidural, but I'm like, okay. First it down, second it down. I'm like, I'm literally telling myself that in my head. I cannot feel anything, but I'm telling myself, here it go. Yup. We doing this. We push it. Homegirl got baby in place, in out in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Hey.
And the award goes.
Right. There you go.
And then, but yeah, it wasn't nothing super scary, but it wasn't ideal. But yeah, that's my story. Ladies, I know that we're all Christians and, you know, we're not to fear or have anxiety of anything, but being pregnant, a lot of just new stuff. You know, what are some of maybe the fears or, you know, struggles that you dealt with while being pregnant?
I definitely dealt with a lot of anxiety and fear because I had a miscarriage prior to my second pregnancy. And so my first few months was just checking when I went to the bathroom to see if I was bleeding, just seeing if there was something that was going on. And so I definitely had like this inner struggle that I would deal with, especially like even when it came to like pooping. I didn't want to push too hard because I didn't know if that was, like, I literally was scared that I was going to have a miscarriage. And it was something that the Lord really was with me on every step of the way. Like, I would have to go into prayer every time I had to go to the bathroom. And I was even afraid, honestly, to even share it with my husband because of just, you know, not wanting to put that on him. Even though I know he's a good support, I just didn't, I think I felt ashamed for even having those thoughts. And so that was just something that I learned that the Lord was with me with in every step of the way. And so I would always really meditate on the scripture that would say God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind, and had to just declare that over myself, that I have a sound mind, that these tormenting thoughts could not overtake me and they would not take over, because that was another thing. I did not want all of that was going on internally to affect my baby. I didn't want it to affect Joshua. And so it was just a lot that I would have to just wrestle through for the first few months of pregnancy. Today, there's so much going on in the world. We had a new elected president. We have just a lot of chaos going on in America, bombs and, you know, missiles being thrown. Like, were you ever at a place where you're like afraid or had thoughts about bringing a child into the world with the way America's going today?
Absolutely. I have thought for a long time. My mom talked about the scripture that says, "Woe unto the woman who gives suck in the last day." And literally, from a little girl, I thought about the day in which I would give birth and what it would look like. I would think about things like, how do you stop your kids from being this way or that way, or homosexuality is so prevalent right now, and not giving room for the enemy to come in via media or whatever. And so how would I attack those things? And it's really about, even now, let me just go back. It's even now thinking as a mother, who's going to have the greater influence over your child? Where are they going to learn from, or which friend is going to be the one that's kind of pulling them or trying to pull them astray? And every time, the answer that rings in my spirit is, you have to be the example for them. They have to see a praying mother. They have to see a praying father, a worshiping family. They have to see that imagery, and you have to be honest and real and upfront with them about what's going on. And that's pretty much how we have been able to. I mean, you know, my daughter's only 2, my son's 11 months, so you know they're not really old yet, but I'm still constantly in dialogue with them about what's going on. So what about struggling, ladies? Have we struggled as parents? Any struggles that we're dealing with currently as mothers?
I believe the parenthood has really showed me the lack of patience that I have. And I bless God for this season because patience is needed. It's a fruit that the Lord desires all of us to have, you know, and just being content with, you know, where you are. So having children has really showed me the lack of, but it also has showed me the love of God to even put me in a situation to grow me in that area. And that's hard sometimes to see it in that perspective. because I didn't see it like that at first. When I had my baby girl, who just had a birthday recently.
Yay.
She's fun. So I have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. And when I had her, my life just changed. I went from working to being a stay-at-home mom to just a lot of stuff. Having 2 children, it was just a lot changing. And I realized that it was just like, I ain't got it together. Like, I just realized I ain't got it together.
Yeah.
I thought more highly of myself than I really was spiritually, to be honest. And that is just one of those things now that I'm really growing. I think potty training really brought that out of me.
Yeah.
Not only does the child have to be ready, but you have to be ready. That is some mental stuff when you walk into a room and poop is smeared all in your carpet.
I'm not there yet.
Girl.
Oh, I'm not there yet.
And I heard boys are harder than girls. That's what I've heard. I mean, I don't know yet, but
My son is potty trained now,
Yeah, I know that's good.
but it was hard. Looking back at it, I'm like, man, it wasn't bad. It didn't take that long, but amen. So I would just say that really the patience is the biggest thing that I'm still learning, you know?
struggles are real as parents.
Yeah. It's like, even as we're talking about that, you said that your daughter just had her first birthday. I was thinking about that whole first year, you know, that celebrate one.
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
that was traumatic for me as
Yes,
well. It's like, what do you
absolutely.
mean I finally get this baby out and then now y'all
You like,
telling me I gotta have
keep
all
it
these
safe?
other, you're right, these other struggles for them to get one, and you celebrating this first birthday. And so that was another thing, you know.
But when we got to baby 2,
hmm
I wasn't as fearful. I
Okay.
wasn't.
That's what I heard.
Anxiety wasn't there for baby 2 as it was for baby 1 in that road to number 1.
Yeah.
Because I think I had some of my own experiences underneath my belt that I
Yeah.
could kind of grab from. I had, a couple tools in that tool belt now.
But I do know that they tell you, like, you're basically not out the clear counting until
Right.
it's still about one song. So,
Celebrate One is a huge initiative here in Central Ohio.
because Columbus has a really high
We have a really high rate
Yes. Okay.
of children who are dying before they get to 1.
Yeah.
And they're dying for multiple reasons. America has the highest infant mortality rate, even higher than third world countries.
Exactly.
And they try to what they're saying medically is that we have bedding and different like accommodations that we have because of our lifestyle causes us to lose children more often. A lot of times families in third world countries, they're all sleeping in the same room.
90% of the world co-sleeps.
Absolutely. Not only that, but they don't have all the bells and whistles. You're not getting blankets and then runners around the bed. You know what I mean? We going deep. Your kids have
Spending $400 on a comforter set. for a baby.
absolutely. We have a sheet, a fitted sheet, a comforter. It's like a bed skirt, and
My daughter definitely has the best hair right now.
we are putting toys and all types of things in there with the kids, and they are suffocating. They are dying. People are rolling over on their children. The medication from the vaccinations that we are giving children, and then their temperature rising, and all types of different things that we're doing here in America, literally that is causing our children to die.
All of that, we definitely want to fill your cups, ladies. I mean, we talked about birth stories, we talked about fears and anxieties, we talked about C-sections and natural births for 36 hours.
38.
38
Don't
hours.
cut her too.
I thought I had it wrong. But we definitely want to take this time to fill your cups. We enjoy talking to you all and sharing and being vulnerable and transparent with you.
I hear a lot of times, were you ready? Like, were you prepared? How are you going to go through it? And this is what I encourage myself with. At the end of the day, I can't reverse this.
Yeah.
I gotta have the baby. It is what it is.
Right.
That's literally what I told
Yes.
myself. There was no I gotta get myself together. I gotta be prepared. How you gonna prepare for such a process? One that you've never even been through. Like the second time, of course, it was a little different. But the first time, you can't prepare for that. Just know, baby girl, you can't turn around.
Can't turn around, ain't no going back.
It's happening. Whether you want it or not, the doctor's going to make you push.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, that's it.
I agree. I think that there is really nothing that you can really prepare for, because I prepared my entire pregnancy and it went the total opposite way. But if I could encourage you guys with anything, is just let it ride, you know, just enjoy it, just allow yourself to be fully who you are. I think that sometimes we can overthink things, and so just really be comfortable, have a good community around you when you're going through your pregnancy, because that's always good. But prepare for the best, prepare for the best, prepare for the worst. I think I gave myself all the worst case scenarios, like what's the worst that can happen, you know what I'm saying? But just have fun.
If I were to give advice to a mother or a woman that is planning her pregnancy, or her birth rather, I would definitely say to stack your support as much as possible. Make sure that those who are in your birthing room, that they know exactly what you want to do or what you aspire to do, because I'm sure there are women who planned their pregnancy and it went according to plan, and that's probably a very small percentage. However, I'm sure that does exist, and we want to make sure that you guys are prepared as far as knowing that you have power in the room, that you can tell doctors, no, I want to wait a little longer. You have time to consult in most cases, unless it is an emergency. You definitely should do your research based off of the different drugs that they potentially could give you, and knowing the medical terms that they're going to be using. You can do that part, because you really don't know how God is going to bring forth this life. You can plan in prayer and in fasting to soothe your mind, because I'm not sure that your body would be too much soothed. But you can do some things to help talk about cesareans, learn about the possibility of having a cesarean, put that in your birth plan, who you want in the room if you are to be rushed up the hallway, or if you are planning for a cesarean.
Don't watch it on YouTube.
Oh no, don't.
That's what I did. I watched it.
On YouTube?
Yes, I watched a cesarean on YouTube, and I watched a circumcision on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I had to prepare my mind for what was going to happen. I don't know how any of that became.
Probably before it was like illegal to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
but
it's probably like an old 80s
Because
video.
old birth stories, I used to watch them.
I did. I watched them and I tortured myself with them, but I still went through with both of them.
Right. And if you don't want an epidural, be vocal about that. Know that you just are in charge. Period. Point blank. That they are in. The doctors are going to, do their thing, but you are in charge of that life, and you can advocate for yourself about what you want to happen and what you don't want to happen.
I want to encourage women to just see and feel God in any decision, whether it's a C-section, whether it's a natural birth, whether you have an epidural, because God is there and He's with you, and it's your story. Even if you do have a birth plan, or you have people that are in your ear that are super encouraging and supportive, that may even know your birth plan, when it comes down to the wire, it's between you and the Lord and whoever you really shared those intimate details about, and also the safe and the health of the baby. And so for me and my husband, I know that us having one another and being on one accord helped a lot. I just say protect your peace for first-time mothers. If it's your first time having a baby, going into the hospital or having it at home, protect your peace, protect that atmosphere, and know that God is with you. He was with me in my C-section. And that was something that I had to really fight through, because it was like, beating myself up like, oh my gosh, I'm built to have this baby naturally. Eve was in the wilderness and she had this baby. She didn't have no epidural. All those things are true, but so much has happened, and there was no way that I could have my baby the way that I desire to have it in that moment. I definitely still want to have a VBAC if I can, but if not, I don't have to be afraid of having a cesarean section if it was to happen again. My baby was healthy, my son is still healthy, and I just want to encourage you guys with that, to own your story, own your birth, and just allow, it to be yours.
As always, we thank you for coming and joining us today, and remember that there's always room at the table.